Hello, how are you? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Um, our topic of discussion tonight will be on leadership authority. But before that, I would like to show you what is due this week. This is week 7, and the reading material is chapter 8 of the course textbook, and you can also read the lecture presentation. Okay, Maurice, just 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Okay, right here. It's right here. All right. So then for the assignment is homework 7 and test 1. So both are ready for you. You can complete them in Magro here Connect. But you can access them through models. You go to models. This is week 7 model. Scroll down to week 7. You can see all of them here. The PowerPoint presentation, homework 7 and test 1. They're all due on Sunday. Now let us begin. Like I said, we'll be focusing on leadership authority today. Let me make sure you can see my screen. I think I opened too much pages. Okay. Let me close some of them, but I close this one. All right. So leadership authority. Now we begin by defining the concept authority. So when we say authority, what are we referring to? Well, this simply put, we can say that authority is power, or the power, the right, the clout to influence people and get them do what you want. That's the simplest way to explain authority. So in other words, authority is the gum, what we call the glue here, glue that hold together the many promises of leadership. Now, here are some of the attributes of authority. First one is that it is decisive. The second attribute is accomplishment oriented. There have to be something that want to be accomplished. That goal that needs to be accomplished is in most cases that makes the leader or the CEO to exercise authority, making sure that the employees execute tasks that will lead to the accomplishment of that goal. Now, the third attribute is influential. The person that wears authority has to have influence. He have to be the kind of person that the employees listens to, or even if it is a non-profit organization, somebody that people can listen to. So it comes with influence. They have to be courageous. Don't feel intimidated to exercise the authority. It also inspires. So these are the 5 key attributes: decisive, accomplishment-oriented, influential, courageous, inspire. So the capability to inspire. At this point, we are ready to look at some of the I would say the different views about authority. Okay, different views about authority. There are two main views here. The first one is the top-down view. As the name implies, this view see authority as something that flows from the top to the bottom. In other words, any kind of leadership authority is based on the position on the hierarchy, and that power that follows the authority flows from the highest level to the lowest level. So if you have a CEO to HR manager, and then to supervisors, and then field employees, floor employees, see, authority flows from top to the bottom. So this is this approach. I mean, this top-down view relies heavily on higher authority figures to determine the larger goals. And it is the classical organizational pyramid. It is reflected in the classical organizational pyramid, which normally serves as the basis of most organizational structures. You can see from here, top executives, managers and supervisors, then frontline workers. You can see how the power flows from the top to the bottom. But support for the executive flows from the frontline employees to managers and supervisors, and then to top executive. But unlike that, authority, the flow of power that accompanies authority goes from top to the bottom. Hence the name top-down view authority. So this view has the frontline workers supporting the managers and supervisors, who in turn support the top-level executives. But the power that follows that authority goes from the top-level executives to supervisors and managers, and then to the frontline workers. So there are a few things we need to know about top-down leadership authority. The first one is that it was first applied in the United States in the 1850s. There's a man that is called David McCallum. He was the general superintendent of the New York and Erie Railroads at the time. So during that time, he prepared an organizational chart that reflects the top-down view of authority, where power goes from the executive to the managers and supervisors, and then to the frontline workers. He prepared a first organizational chart that reflects that structure. So this organizational structure was eventually adopted by most other American companies, and then it becomes like the norm. Excuse me. Another thing we need to know about this top-down view is that it relies on high authority figures to determine larger goals that will filter down to the task of lower employees. So you can see from this diagram. So you can see that top executive authority flow, power that come from the authority flow down from the top executive to the board of directors, to managers. I forgot to put the managers here before it can really get to the frontline workers. This is just a brief structure. It can be more complex than this, but the bottom line is that the reflection of the flow of power that is from the top executive to the frontline workers. So the top-down concept is also well established and is the traditional view of leadership authority. in the United States. So even if you have a team of project managers, and we do have team of project managers, but yeah, they make the rules, and then made the rules, made the decisions, and then they pass it down through the hierarchy to the frontline workers. So in that scenario, we have the managers who gather information and knowledge, then analyze it, draw actionable conclusion, which they then communicate down to the frontline employees or to the team members to implement them. Okay. So that is the top-bottom approach. How about the bottom-up approach of leadership authority? Remember, the one we just did is the top-down view. Then I look at the bottom-up view of leadership authority. According to this view, authority power flows from below. Why? Because if the management communicates some information or about what to be done, the frontline employees might decide to go on strike and refuse. And sometimes they can force them to do something that they don't plan to do. If you remember the, I forgot the Amazon in one particular state. I don't know. I think it's New York or California. I think when you join the company, Amazon discourages their employees from forming a union. But eventually, that particular Amazon workers in that state went ahead and formed the union. So that means they can now dictate to the Amazon management how much wages they will be receiving. See, that's an example of bottom view. Not only Amazon employees, so employees can just do it. Some employees, if they are united enough, they can say yes or no to the management. And that means affirming or denying the authority of the management. If they can do that, that means they can force the management to do or grant their request. And that is power. That's authority. We know how powerful the union of teachers are in America. They can influence so many things about in education sector. And there are many other unions that we know, whereby the people from a particular work group form a very strong association and dictate basically dictate to the government or their employer what to do, especially in terms of their salary and wages. So by saying yes or no, the individual affirms or denies the authority of others. So which means that the bottom, let's look at some of the people that have used this view successfully. If you remember, when, let me say, yeah, oh, well, I'm giving you an example of two groups, the Amazon Union and the American Union of Teachers. Now, I want to show you the person that first described this view. His name is Chester Bernard of AT&T. So at the time, he was a career executive, and he emphasized that organization depend on effective communication, and the manager's formal authority depend on the employee's willingness to accept that power. Yeah. So if the employees are willing to accept that power, they will, obey and things start running. So in Mr. Bernard's view, people can accept an order if 4 conditions are met. The first condition is that the person understands what the order is. Let's say that the management says, okay, we are going to cut down maybe, or we have a salary freeze. That means there won't be an increase in salary for the next 5 years, for example. And they explain why they do it. If the employees say yes, that means the manager can be able to, or the CEO can be able to implement that policy. So that means the power to implement that policy worked only because the management communicated that information the right way, and employees are willing to accept it. Okay. So that means if they didn't communicate it very well, and then the employees are unwilling to accept it, the company might not be able to, maintain that law. And if they want to enforce it, they're going to be problem, maybe riots, and work boycotts of work, and so on and so forth. That might force the government to go back to where they are before. So the person must understand the order. Another one is that the person believes the order is consistent with the organization goal. Yes, depending on how the management communicated it. And third one is that the person believes that the order given is compatible with his or her interest. Yeah. So when majority are in support, then the other goes into effect. Okay. Now the fourth one is that the person is mentally and physically able to comply with the order. Of course, especially if this order that involve going to work to the physical office. In any case, effectively, they have a good way of communicating this what they need to the frontline employees, and they make sure that their directive fall within their band subordinate zone of acceptance. If they go beyond that, they might encounter a lot of work stoppages, strikes, and so on and so forth. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No questions.
Good. So we can now look at this area. It says which is better, the top down or the bottom up view. Well, my answer here was that both of them have their merits. By accepting employment, employees acknowledge the authority of the owners and managers. For them to make decisions and give orders, they have the ability to communicate that decision and orders in a way that will encourage the employees to comply and obey. So both of them have their pros and cons. Now, successful manager is the first to acknowledge the power of employees to achieve both their own and their own goals, and also the goals of the organization. So when a manager is effective, that means that he or she can govern most effectively with the consent of those being governed. It is always better to govern or be in charge and make the employees do what you want them to do through their own volition, by making them, convincing them to do it voluntarily. So they know they in their mindset, they know that they are doing this job for legitimate reason. There's a goal they want to achieve, and they will see you as the CEO who is trying to help them to achieve that goal. When put them in that kind of mindset, things happen. That mindset leads to what we call interdependence common to most leadership leader follower relationship. Leader follower relationship. Okay. So if you can be a kind of leadership that leader that recognizes both the top down and the bottom up views, and if you can effectively address the interdependent nature of the leader followers situation, then you can say that you are you adopted the principle of servant leadership. Okay. Now let us take a quick look at that. Servant leadership. So servant leadership, simplest way to explain it is that it is the leadership authority, leadership philosophy surface, whereby the leader have the goal, the main goal he has or she has is to serve. The main goal of the leader is to serve. Make sure that you stay in good, have a cordial relationship with your employees, and then try as much as you can to support your employees, give them feedback, etc. Now, when a leader can do that, naturally the employees will be happy, and then they will also, in return, treat the customers with respect, with love, and so on and so forth. They will make the customers to open their wallets and patronize your company because they see you as a good company, a kind company. So, servant leadership has is very, very important. So remember, the goal here is for the leader to serve. So this is different from the type of traditional leadership we have, whereby the leader has a main goal is to make the company thrive and make money for the shareholders. So if you are a servant leader, that means basically you are like a servant to serve your employees, be around, render help whenever you can. There are some things we need to know about the servant leadership. So that thing is that the servant leader is someone who shares power with employees. So a servant leader can get other people involved in solving the problem of the company. A servant leader can also help in making important decisions. So I give an example here with a leadership author that is called Ken Blanchard. So according to him, you become a servant leader when you believe you are here to give, rather than instead of getting. So you become a servant leader according to Ken Blanchard when you believe you are here to give rather than get. So you are here to serve, not be served. So that's what makes you a servant leader. So this kind of leadership, when I say that, I mean the servant leadership, often generally encourages trust, listening, and the ethical use of power and empowerment. So which means that the servant leadership uses most of the time, in fact, since the leader is going to serve, the servant leadership principle is based on the upside down pyramid approach. You can see the pyramid that you can see right here and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, this. Can you see this? Hello, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, so upside down pyramid approach. Okay, so you can see that the customers at the top. It is as if the it is the top executives that are serving the customers. I mean, since they are at the bottom, followed by managers, and then support, and then customers and clients. So frontline workers serve customers and clients. So in other words, the leader, top executives serve the support people, who in turn serve the managers and supervisors. And then the managers and supervisors support the frontline workers who are in direct contact with the customers. Yeah. So that's what servant leadership is about. And that's what the top-down pyramid approach that they use have to. Okay. Now, another sure sign of servant leadership is the leader who stays in touch with the challenges and problems of others. So how can they do this? They can do this by getting out of the executive suit sometimes, and then work on the shop floor, out of the headquarters, and into the field. Just stay away from for some time, not all the time. As a leader, you can stay away from the ivory tower and into the real world. So there's a popular name used in this regard. I won't call it a name, I'll call it a phrase. Managing by walking around. So it's the MBWA. It's called managing by walking around. I'll show you some political leaders from George Washington to Abraham Lincoln, and the business leaders from Sam Walton to knows the absolute necessity of connecting with people and the absolute requirements of understanding their needs. At this point, I can show you a link with the list of people who are servant leaders, generally. Then I will show you another link with these people who are non-servant thinking as well. Non-servant leadership thinking. So what I want to show you now again is the greatest servant leaders we have. The greatest servant leaders we have. Let me put this right here. Yeah. You can see the 5 greatest servant leaders of all time. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Good. And so this. So you can see some of the greatest servant leaders of all time. These things keep coming up. I look at this person, Abraham Lincoln. See? It's a good example. During his presidency, according to study, everything I read about Abraham Lincoln and his leadership point to servant leadership. Yeah. Let me do this short paragraph. So it says that Lincoln grew up poor in Western frontier, and he was mostly self-educated. Lincoln gathered the title of honest aide as a store clerk. See, honest aide as a store clerk. Once he realizes he can shortchange a customer a few pennies, he walked miles to correct the situation. See, this happened several times, and people grew to praise his integrity. And because of this, he will often be asked to judge disputes, which led him to practice law. See? Now, remember, Lincoln is the president that made the Emancipation Proclamation that allowed that banned slavery, and also he's among during the time that Black people were seen as subhuman. It was him that gave them the opportunity to work to serve in the U.S. Army. So there's other qualities about him that made him to be a true servant leader. So now, how about this? Mahatma Gandhi. He's the one that had the India, not the American Indians. I mean the Indians, people from India, an Asian country, to gain their independence. He did a lot of. He's really a true servant leader. And we have Mother Teresa, another true servant leader. Then Nelson Mandela. Okay. Now I'm going to show you in the business arena the true servant leaders that we have in the business arena. Okay, let me show you some of them. I'm going to copy it from here. Let's see. It's a link that have those things. I'm going to paste this link and put it right here so I can open it. Okay. Some leadership examples. And I'm going to show you the, oh, excuse me. I think I closed it again. I'm going to show you those servant leaders. We have FedEx. Let me start with FedEx. So all these big companies, people who run it first time, they're very humble, and they are servant leaders. They put the customers first, employees first, customers first. So they put the employee first, and the employees in return put the customers first. What happened in the end? The company became very successful. I look at this short paragraph. It says here that FedEx was founded in 1971 by Fred Smith, who still leads the company as the CEO. He believes that when people are placed first, they will provide the highest possible service, and then profit will follow. So what emerged from this thinking is a distinctive company culture. The people service profits, people first service. So when you treat your workers, who are the people, right, they will provide good service to customers who will now open their wallets. And in the end, the company makes profit. Same thing with Marriott. Marriott is another company that's founded on a people first philosophy. That means as powerful and connected as the CEO is, he believes in humbling himself down to, and then treating the employees with respect, recognition, giving them good feedback, and making sure their working condition is good. So so when you do have that kind of mindset that people first, that means you see yourself as a servant, and then as a servant leader. So that means that you can take care of your associates, and then they will take care of the customer. That will bring profit in. Okay. Now, how about SaaS? So when you got the chance to read through all this, it's very, very, very interesting. I think you get the point now. Let us go back to where we are. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so that's some leadership. This is where I am. Okay. Let's see. So the one example I gave here, actually two of them, I used George Washington to Abraham Lincoln. Even Martin Luther King, I consider him, he can be considered to be a servant leader too. Whenever he say march, let us march to Washington, he will be there leading the march. You're gonna see him there leading the march. So whatever you ask your workers to do, you do the same thing. How about this guy in recently in Ukrainian president. If you see what happened in Afghanistan, when the US left the country, everybody is blaming US. I don't blame US really, because you cannot continue to serve some country for 20 years, give them weapon, train their soldiers, open the economy. You can't continue to serve, to be there. They have to help themselves. And when Biden made the decision to leave, the president, what did he do? He ran away. Instead of staying and being with his people and fighting off the danger, he ran away. Now, compare it to what happened in Ukraine. When Russia invaded Ukraine, he invaded Ukraine from the air, land, and sea. Air, land, and sea. This is a superpower. Russia is a superpower, one of the world powers. To attack this small country like that from air and land and sea, and then send paratroopers to assassinate President Zelensky and his family. Now, US offered President Zelensky to help him out of the country. He said, no, I don't need the right. What I need is weapon. He stayed. And because of the fact that he stayed with his people, he does not run away and expect his soldiers to fight for him. He stayed. That motivated, that basically lit up the whole Ukraine, the soldiers. Even all the Congress men in Ukraine stayed inside the country. None of them ran away. No, now what happened now? What happened? A whole world power like Russia could not take over a small country. See? So because of when a leader can do that, be with their followers, stay there. If they are drinking water, you drink water with them. If they are drinking soda, you drink soda with them. If they have a pen, you bear the same pen with them. They will naturally do everything you ask them to do. They'll be motivated, the morale will be high, and the result to be success. And that is what is happening in Ukraine today. Now, if you look at all these companies that are doing very well, United States and other countries, see that the kind of leadership they have, servant leadership, a leader that is willing to be with people. So all this servant leadership, what is called most of them, they know that the absolute necessity of connecting with the people and the requirement of understanding their needs. They often adopt the bottom-up system, bottom-up view of leadership. You can see from here, upside-down pyramid, whereby the customers become the king, and the top executive is at the floors, providing support to the managers who provide support to the frontline workers who then serve the customers, and in return, the money flows down from the customers all the way down to the top executive as the profit and success. Now, we have a few minutes, less than 1 minute, less than 1 minute left. So I'm going to, if you time us out, please wait for 10 minutes and log back in. Okay? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to time us out anytime. I can, so just wait for 10 minutes and log back in so that we can round up. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what